time to cancel the cabal, with Stephen Roberts, on MSI Radio.
This is Media Streaming International Radio.
truthbroadcastnetwork.com.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome prisoners and slaves, and welcome everybody from sovereign Ireland, Scotland, and the UK. I am Steve Roberts, and I have Todd Foster up with me. Welcome, Todd. This is Cancel the Cabal.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening. I know we've had some problems in the... I'm going to go on my camera here, and I think everybody probably officially knows it, but I still need to put the taking stream. So now that that's official. Yeah. Hello, Nimblehorse. Hello, everyone. Todd is not able to get the MSI stream up, but he has my live stream, so if anybody would like to chat with him and I will be in both chat rooms, because I had the MSI chat room up for about 3 or 4 hours and I never refreshed it. So fortunately, I still have my MSI stream. Okay, in case anybody doesn't know it, tonight I have a man named Luke McKee on. I'm not really sure what his story is. I know he has lots of stories, so I will just bring him on and introduce him.
Hello.
Hello, Luke.
How are you?
Very good, very good. How are you? Well, it's your morning there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's 6 a.m.
So how are you doing this morning? It's evening here for us.
Oh, it's good. Went for a ride, got up the bike, got ready to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure what your story is. I haven't really introduced you yet. Would you like to introduce yourself to the MSI listeners?
Okay. Well, my name's Luke McKee. Someone had to draw the short straw and be accused of the rarest crime in Australia. And according to government statistics from the New South Wales Bureau of Criminal Statistics and Research, a custom query which I ran, I got that short straw.
Okay. What is this infraction that you're being accused of then, Luke?
Crime of obtaining true personal information on a law enforcement officer that I believe incriminates the officer. That's what it is. If you have dirt on police, they have a whistleblower execution framework, and this law was introduced 1 year after the law's predecessor was made. That law was 60(1) of the Crimes Act. And I remember when I first did my security officer training back in Australia, and ex-police detective Dave Orr told me, the definition of assault is different on a police officer versus someone else. If you swore at a police officer, that's assault, but if I swear at you now, that's not assault. And that came from 60(1) of the Crimes Act, which was defeated a year before the 60C came in, because it was all about intimidating police. And 5 police swore to a judge in the case of Melliver Slow, New South Wales Supreme Court, listing 75 year 2000, that they were intimidated by a shirtless Aboriginal man with their pistols drawn. And the magistrate said, well, you police must be too pussy. I don't believe you're intimidated. or you shouldn't have your job. And the guy got off the conviction, and precedent was made, nullifying the use of the law as, oh, you intimidate me, I don't like the look of you, off to jail with you. So the police didn't have anything for that, so they decided to make a more targeted law to use against whistleblowers. And when they introduced it, the exact words from Michael Cross, the police minister, who did the introduction of the law in the Police and Other Law Enforcement Officers Bill of 2002 in New South Wales, Australia, he said the New South Wales Crime Commission has given us intelligence reports that outlaw motorcycle gangs are building dossiers on police and their families. So this is also, so your Australian listeners would see the significance in this. This is the first outlaw motorcycle gang law in Australia as well. At the time the Crime Commission allegedly made that report to the police minister, their second in charge was a drug dealer, convicted drug dealer, Mark Standard. Through the course of this show, your listeners are going to hear just how entirely corrupt the state of New South Wales in Australia is, and why I'm a refugee from it on UNHCR letterhead.
Okay. Where are you originally from then, Luke?
New South Wales, Australia. I actually grew up in Berry. Yeah, I grew up in a country town down the south coast before it became trendy, and moved up to Sydney. Went to the most elite school for a period, Sydney Grammar School. I'm technically a Sydney Grammar old boy, but I don't get the stuff in the mail from them. The school song was Floyup Grammatica Scholar Sydney. Basically, it's a kind of what the people in Ireland and England would call a public school. And I went to school with the elite, and I left because I didn't want to do Latin for a third year, because I got top in design and technology, and that was the subject I wanted to choose. And a kid who failed, who was gay like the teacher, managed to get into the class. So I said, well, stuff this school. And now the school's famous and on Huffington Post for a student's underage gay teens gay pride movie. So there you go.
Okay. I believe you described this law as, I think you call it C60 law?
Section 60C.
60C,
yeah,
okay.
Of the New South Wales Crimes Act. Your American listeners would know it as a penal code. The
Penal code, right, okay. Can you maybe explain to us what the accusers are, what their claims are?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Well, basically, what happened is police had made an attempt to frame me up and lost in court. And I got my security license back. I was working as a bouncer, starting a small business at the time. And I wasn't happy that justice was done to both of the accusers, one of them being reported for immigration fraud, and the other was recalled in the two gay and lesbian liaison officers to my house, was arrested for same-sex domestic violence. So I thought I'd go for a hat trick and get all three. And I had done the horrendous crime of doing a Freedom of Information request, which I put online. And one of the two officers named in the 60C search warrant that was executed in my house when I was abroad, and I haven't gone back since, of course. The only information obtained about her or solicited anywhere was through a Freedom of Information request. And that request netted evidence of two crimes that police officer did: destruction of evidence, be it a death threat sent to my family home that I'd sworn to oath in court was with the police being fingerprinted, which was what I was told. And I sent like 10 faxes to the exhibits officer in the Sutherland police station about that. And and that the officer put on the computer system I got in the FOI. Mr. McKee didn't want to take it any further. Now, I put it to you, if someone's trying to put you in jail for a crime you didn't do, and they're dumb enough to send a death threat, are you going to take it as far as you can?
I would think not. At least I wouldn't anyways.
I would think so, because if that affects the credibility of the person who's making false allegations against you, and you would want to make sure that gets processed, even if you don't have any malice, because you want to save your own soul. Basically, you don't want to get to jail for a crime you didn't do. So it makes perfect
Right.
sense.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
and my father went to me with the local police station, and they said, anyway. So basically, what had happened was I didn't know in motive why I was framed up, why I was accused of assault, which I didn't do, and why the police couldn't interview all the heterosexual eyewitnesses at my house who saw someone do malicious property damage to my front door. And I found out that, like, in Australia, I don't know if they have them in Ireland. I heard a rumor once they did, but they believe that especially the gay lobby believes this, that all heterosexual police are inferior, and that's why we need to have gay, lesbian liaison officers to be officer in charge of investigating a heterosexual. Now, that's on the assumption that gays are divine beings and not subject to the flaws of human nature and are able to discriminate themselves. And I put it to that I campaign of sorts for gay equality, and I believe that gay people are subject to the flaws of human nature and are capable of discrimination. But in the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Act, they are exempt. And recently they're pushing to non-exempt religious organisations under the cover story that Islamic and Christian schools need to have gay children in them. And there was a case in Victoria. So all this is on my YouTube channel, the videos to back this up, of Way Out First Brethren Church, a gay youth suicide prevention charity, wanted to have a bunch of underage teens sleep over on a church campsite for some sexual education and other activities taken from the country away from their parents for a week to sleep in bunk beds next to gay men. And the church said no, and they were fined $5,000 plus God knows how many millions of legal fees for a big court case that ran for 3 years with costs against them. And the magistrate ruled that any land or anything that is not a place of worship owned by a church or a mosque is not subject to the religious exemption from the Anti-Discrimination Act. For example, the right to refuse a gay marriage and not be sued for the crime of not doing a gay marriage. And that's the law they're pushing for now, a bill from Alex Greenwich MP that the Greens previously tried 2 years ago.
Wow. Okay. What are you facing as far as
well, I'm
as
the
this-
first person. I'm the third person to be accused of 60C according to crime statistics, and I'm the first person to be accused after 60C was amended by the 2006 Gang Laws Bill. Answering your question, it's 5 years, but 60C is a special law because in America you're entitled to a speedy trial and a trial in front of your peers. But in Australia, we get one-man judges called magistrates, and 60C has a special exemption. And normally an offence of 5 years jail or greater is fully indictable. But with 60C, it has a special exemption, so a one-man magistrate can only be in charge of the matter. And I find this very disturbing because all 60C charges relate usually to people having dirt on police or animosity towards police, and they can't be judged by a jury of their peers. They have to be judged by a magistrate. For example, magistrate in Wagga Wagga, who was previously police's top lawyer, Michael Antrim, general counsel for police, who was threatening every single website I ever published on in the past, trying to erase me from the internet before possibly the next step of erasing me. And I got falsely accused after burning my passport and naming him in 2009. If anyone types burn passport.mp4 into the internet, they can see that. The Australian government with a false terrorism allegation, because this 60C story is something that's very scary.